And we got Druid versus Warlock. Is it
Handlock.
Zoo? Is it Handlock?
Shadow Flame is a handlock.
So we see StrifeCro going for a hand, and Lothar, well, it looks like Lothar wants to press instant concede. He has
Wants to change his card.
He has an Innervate, Ancient of Lore, Force of Nature. Well, Harvest Golem and Innervate could be kept. Just drop Ancient of Lore and Force of Nature, I would say. Like, maybe you can keep Ancient of Lore, don't get me wrong, but that's like, it's gonna take freaking ages.
Well, I think going for Innervate Harvest Golem is risky. Well, actually, it's not that risky. He knows if it's a Zoolock or not. If he sees it's a Zoolock, I would Innervate out the Harvest Golem. If not, I would just, end my turn.
Now, innervating out the Harvest Golem is only okay when you actually have a follow-up move, and then you can, well,
there's also nothing that can happen to the Harvest Golem.
Yep, that's correct. He needs quite a lot, but if you don't have a follow-up move, like he can play Selnus, for example, and that would be okay, or he just waits it 2 turns and then he goes Innervate Coin. But the thing is, if you Innervate out Harvest Golem, you would play Selnus turn 2, in my opinion, for extra card draw. And if you don't Innervate it out, you can coin it out now, chillax. But Innervating it out and then not following up turn 2, that's always hurts in my eyes.
So I would never Innervate out a Harvest Golem against a Handlock. That's just my opinion.
So he knows there is a Handlock. What is he going to do? Like, get your Harvest Golem out, absolutely. I mean, you need something out, so you can go turn 4, silence and kill it, or silence it and then Innervate out your hero ability. But it's good if you have a minion out to just run it in. Like, Selnus, Harvest Golem, or just wait a turn and then go Karen. But Karen against Handlock, you just bring him down fast and early. Is it that good?
Well, and there's also the Iron Beak Owls. And he could just watch the Sun Fury, and Karen doesn't do a lot. If I was Lothar, I would just hero ability attack him, because if we see, like, at turn 4, he can just silence. Like, the biggest thing that is incoming is a Twilight Drake. That's for sure.
Yeah, he can just silence Innervate hero ability turn 4 to kill it.
Exactly.
Sadly that you use your Innervate then, but yeah, that's what you can do. You got a Kodo too. Well, Kodo won't be of that much value.
Well, only thing it kills is Sun Fury Protector and Defender of Argus.
At least something. Like,
Well,
there
course,
could be
it
no
still has
value. Absolutely. So turn 3 for StrifeCro, and he already has a Twilight Drake in his hand. And this is quite good. Like, Twilight Drake, yeah, but no coin to get it out. So we're going to see turn 4, is it a 4-9 if I'm not mistaken, and a Molten Giant, plus Leroy and Faceless Manipulator. So, in total, a really strong hand for StrifeCro.
Oh, double harvest. That's good.
Absolutely. But we just see the 4-9. It's just strong. It's going to be so strong.
It's just going to get silenced, though.
Yeah, it's going to get silenced. But in StrifeCro's eyes, he just popped out a really awesome minion. It will get just silenced. And then there's 6 damage on the board with a Roar. So if Lothar would draw a Roar, he already had 6 damage plus 8. So he would have 14 damage on the board next turn already.
He's of course not going to play it, because then...
Yeah, sure.
3 Molten Giants in your face.
A 3 Molten Giants is never what you want to have. It's just nice that he has the potential of it. And he wants to keep the Innervate. I mean, you get a 2-1 minion if there's no model card. As we see, there is one. It would be okay. It's still okay, though. He has Yetis. He has some good stuff.
Well, StrifeCro's hand is not the best.
Yeah,
he has to Mortal Coil now. And just hope if he draws a Mountain Giant, it's just jackpot.
Twilight Drake would be
Twilight
okay
would
too.
also be good. The Defender is definitely not what he was wishing for.
Yeah, no jackpot.
He can potentially, he doesn't want to play the Iron Beak onto the Harvest Golem, but he wants to drop low now.
Well, he needs to put down something since he's on 10 cards.
Yeah.
So he will get in trouble.
In my opinion.
And the Owl can get Kodo'd, so we might see some Kodo value from Lothar in the end, if he's actually going for Kodo. Like, he could Innervate out Karen, but yeah.
Nah.
Like
he will waste the mana.
Absolutely.
And Kodo is completely fine 3-5.
Yep. It's hard to kill, actually. Whatever he plays, Sun Fury or the Owl, both things will die, or will get
Kodo will survive no matter what.
Yep. So we're going to see a Kodo now from Lothar, in my opinion. That's like #1 thing to do.
No brainer.
Druid of the Claw also, so we have a really, really nice hand for Lothar. He can rush down StrifeCro quite hard. I mean, he can deal 5 damage now, bring him down to 16, and he has a Druid of the Claw. He just wants to draw a Roar, and he could deal so much damage with Druid of the Claw, Innervate Roar, and with what he has on the board, especially Kodo coming too. So with Kodo, he has 7 damage on the board.
I would Kodo.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not sure if I would even attack.
Well, he's on 20, so...
I think I would bring him down to 18, but not lower. Because if you bring him down to 16, he can already play a Molten Giant.
Well, he can play a Molten Giant, but to taunt it up, he would need to have another Sun Fury Protector. So he would be on 16. He life tabs. He life tabs. He's on 4 mana, so he can only play a Molten Giant. And I mean, only a Molten Giant is not the biggest threat. It needs to get taunted up to be really annoying. And as we see in StrifeCro's hand, would you play your Molten Giant when you have 7 damage against you? If your opponent pulls a Roar, that's 7 damage plus 8. So he has 15 damage. Actually 16 on the board with a Roar. And you need to like look out for that. There's 3 minions on the enemy board. If he plays a Roar, you're just getting wrecked.
It's over if he plays a Roar.
Yeah, so I guess
Siphon Soul.
Siphon Soul seems to be the best thing to do.
Siphon Soul, Soulfire.
Siphon Soul, Soulfire.
Yep.
But you might lose your Giant.
Well, it's a game of chances.
Yeah, I think the Soulfire is too risky. You can still do it. I mean, now he cannot kill you with his crazy combo. So you're like, you see that on the board, 4 damage plus a Roar. It's going to kill you. Even a White Crow, so he can Yeti White Crows. That's pretty nice for Lothar.
Cairn now and bring him down to 17.
Yeah, but would you play Cairn, or would you rather go for more mana and then, like, if you go for White Crows now, you can go... you could also do it even with Innervate. Yeah, so you can do it 1 turn, you can go crazy.
I would play Cairn. Because even if he goes for Watcher Shadow Flame, he would survive. Or... yeah, that's basically the main thing. Or Watcher Overwhelming Shadow Flame to clear the board.
The good
and
thing
he would still have 6 damage. With Druid of the Claw War, he would be able to kill.
Yeah. The good thing about Cairn is he can run him into a Giant, and he survives. The annoying thing is, well, we see a Faceless Manipulator for StrifeCro, so he can Faceless if he wants to.
He has no Sun Fury.
Yeah, he has no Sun Fury, and that's the biggest problem. Lothar is struggling, so he might play Yeti Selnus, for example, too, for some card draw, or just Cairn for the obvious reasons we just said. It's just Cairn. So the reason for playing Cairn is it's just Cairn. He's going to be there twice. You need to silence him and then kill him.
Risky.
We see Hellfires. Hellfires all over the place.
Has no value.
Yeah.
Like absolutely 0 value.
I would like him to see playing 2 Hellfires, but sadly he's out of 1 mana. And that would make absolutely no sense. He's missing 1 mana point to go Leroy plus Shadow Flame, and that's what he would like to do. He would kill the whole board. The main problem is we are on turn 6. Druid of the Claw plus Swipe is even 8 damage too out of nowhere, so you need to look out for stuff like that, especially because no Claw and no Swipe was played by now, and no Druid of the Claw. What are you going to do as StrifeCro now? Just face this Cairn? That feels like...
No, you can't. Play the Molten Giant, silence the Harvest Golem, and Soulfire it away.
Soulfire it away? That would be a good thing. At least you're getting rid of something. Maybe you could just Soulfire away the 2/4. So that's like just get rid of the 2/4, and then next turn you can just trade. You can just trade with Cairn and Hellfire, for example.
If there's a next turn.
If there's a next turn, we do not know, and it's always a problem. But you couldn't have killed more. So either the 2/3 or the 2/4. Double right crows for Lothar.
Lothar got really unlucky there.
6 damage. 10. He can deal 10, so that's a given.
Can deal 11 actually with hero ability.
With hero ability, yeah, that's true. So he could deal 11 if he wants to, but you bring
the problem is, it's so bad. It's not looking good for Lothar.
Well, the thing is, if you would bring him down to, I always say we bring him down to 4, and you actually innervate out Selnus additionally, and then you just need to beg for a Swipe. and you could deal 4 damage, win the game. That's a really risky play. Just saying. You could also just clear the Iron Beak Owl and drop what he has.
The good thing is he saw that one Shadow Flame is gone. He should anticipate his second one. We know that there is no second one, but even without, it's kind of risky. I think he has to play his Yeti. Hero ability, get rid of the Owl. And then just go for... Oh wow, it's really hard.
Well, maybe
it's super hard.
You just deal 2 damage, but it doesn't matter. If you deal damage to him, you can go the full road down. So if you only deal 2, he can just life tap and play a Molten Giant for 1, so that doesn't matter in the end. So if you don't attack, there's a Shadow Flame.
He shouldn't attack.
That's just going to be Leroy, Shadow Flame. Nice top deck for StrifeCro. You can just burn Lothar away. So just trade with a 2-3 once with his Cairn, and then Leroy, Shadow Flame. Kill the whole board.
Oh.
It seems to be what we want to do.
And now he needs a swipe. Swipe would be perfect.
Absolutely.
Salner's power swipe. Okay.
But Karen will come back. That's always the problem. So I guess he could also go for double Hellfire if he wants to. Like trade with a Harvest Golem, double Hellfire, and drop a Molten Giant. It's super risky.
Well, yeah.
The good thing is we're not turn 9 by now, so you're not counting with...
But he knows that there was no Innovate yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
5 hand cards.
This is a safer play. But the other one would be super cool to get out a Molten Giant now. He still has 2 Hellfire, so that's 6 damage in 1 turn. I always like to have so much damage. He just vaporized the whole board, so Shadow Flame Leroy is one of the best clearing combos in the end. Azure Drake, wow. The redraws from Lothar are okay, but not the best.
They're actually pretty useful.
Well, the Black Knight is really good now. So if we see a Molten Giant and that gets taunted up, I mean, he can play it 5 + 4, 9 mana for StrifeCro. The Black Knight could get some crazy value. He's thinking about innervating out his Druid of the Claw, but would you do it now? Like, would you taunt him up or charge the face?
Yeah, but no.
No, not taunt it up, or no, not charge the face. Like, keep it in your hand for his backup.
I would keep it in my hand. But the problem is, he knows Shadow Flames are gone. And he has to. He has to taunt it up. We know that he will just trade Hellfire.
He can trade. Well, but if he trades and Hellfires...
Still at 2 HP, and then he can play Defender on it, so it's 6-3.
Oh, he can...
5-3.
Yeah, or he... Well, he could go double Argus too to make it 5-6. That would just be crazy, but he would be able to kill the 4-6. You're not going to do that. We might just see Molten Giant plus Defender of Argus to be super safe. I mean, turn 9 is there. If you leave 1 minion alive and there is Force of Nature and Roar, you're dead. If there is even, like you're playing against a White Growth Druid, that StrifeCro hasn't seen the White Growth by now. So for him, it's just a mid-rangey Druid. Not even the White Growth with big taunters. We don't even know if Lothar, but we haven't seen enough from Lothar's deck to say he's maybe playing Ancient of War. We don't even know.
I think it's double Ancient of War scenarios. That's really common right now in the ladder. I think it's the new Calendar Druid, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he might be playing Force of Nature. He might not. So that's the biggest question. And we just see StrifeCro taunting up his stuff. So 5-6, 9-9. That looks quite strong. And enemy is down to 4-2. Now Black Knight will get his revenge. Or will get his value. And Keeper. So, but sadly, he used the Innervate. That hurts. You kind of want to play Black Knight.
So horrible.
I want to play Black Knight and then Keeper the left one for 2 damage and trade with your 4-2.
Yep.
Well, but now he would need to trade his 2 minions and wow, you absolutely don't want to do that. You can Black Knight. That's first of all, that's the biggest value you're getting here. Yeah. He has to. Black Knight the right one, double attack the left one. I would still drop my Selnus. I'm saying that since turn 1, I would drop my Selnus. Just get it out. It draws you a card. He hasn't drawn
You
a
would-
swipe by now. I would have dropped my Selnus since I haven't drawn one Ancient of Lore. I haven't drawn one swipe. I haven't drawn one Raz. You're down like so many cards.
I would just trade, go hero ability into the face.
We saw one Molten Giant, so it doesn't matter if you bring him down further. But I think the card draw is way more important. You have double white growth, but you want to get a minion and then use it, and not double white growth for 4 mana to draw some options.
It's true, but if he doesn't have a taunt next turn, you have him down to 14, and even if he clears the Black Knight somehow, with what? Okay.
Well, you're not going to draw Force of Nature Roar, who's one card, so that's the biggest problem I see here.
It's true.
So yeah, I know what you're saying. You could bring him down to 14 just to bring him in range. StrifeCro brings himself into range, but he's going like Ancient Watcher
Oh, wow.
plus Argus. That's like a really big board now, and how is Lothar going to come past this?
The problem is, it hurts so much to silence the Watcher.
There's a Raz finally, so he gets some value. He could go for Selnus, Raz, Keeper for 2 damage and just kill the 5/6 and then trade the 3/4. So that would be a board clearing play if he really wants to do it. Oh, there's the Force of Nature, so first part is done. And now you really want to, like, I would really go for Selnus, Raz, 4 damage on the Watcher, and then just Keeper it down. So you would get
Oh,
Keeper
no,
out.
no. Why? Why don't you just wait? Just use Selnus, Res on the left one, hero ability up, wait a turn, and then you can just next turn go for Keeper, silence him, play Force of Nature, and deal tons of damage.
Well, you could do that if you're not blinded by the option of going for the combo. He might also just kill the 2/3. I just feel like you saw double Argus, you saw one Sunfury Protector, so there was 3 taunters already gone.
Yeah.
There was, like, if you would have killed all the taunts by now, you could be almost sure that there's no taunt coming in the next 3 or 4 turns until he gets the next Sunfury Protector.
The thing is, like that, he still has a taunt, but there's no Shadow Flame, so like, why does he even care?
It felt like good having so many minions out. Like you would have a Keeper out, you would have a Selnus out, draw an additional card.
Yeah.
Your Black Knight would still be alive. No, your Black Knight would still be alive. His 2/3 minion survives, but if he goes Hellfire, the board is clear, and you haven't seen a Hellfire, but it hurts him too. He's like down already a lot. Well, he can silence Soulfire. He can, harvest, silence Soulfire, his own minion, for example.
He doesn't want to.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get rid of his taunter by now. He needs it.
Exactly. Just can't risk it. He should Soulfire.
Yeah, you need to Soulfire. If there's Force of Nature Roar and you didn't Soulfire, you're just screwed. And even drop the Iron Beak Owl, maybe.
He wants to keep the owl for the finishing blow.
So there is 6 damage on the board for StrifeCro at the moment. But we see a Ragnaros. So, and the first Ancient of Lore, finally.
No value.
You could just drop Ragnaros. I mean, if he hits a 5/6, you're good.
Like, I think that's a given. He saw the big game hunter. Most handlocks only play 1. So there's still 1 Siphon Soul, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Warlock has 2 hand cards right now.
Well, the good thing if he goes for the card draw, he has a 5/5 minion out.
Card draw now?
Dude, you can just go for the card draw. I mean, he has good cards. But if he goes for the card draw and then draws a Roar, and the enemy is just relying on his taunter, you would win. Absolutely. So that's a safe way. If you go Ragnaros and Ragnaros hits the Harvest Golem.
He's gonna clear the 5/5 in a second. Like, he's just gonna run the Harvest Golem in the big game hunter.
Just gonna run the Harvest Golem and the Big Game Hunter into
the Ancient of Law, he would. So, like, even if you get Force of Nature and Roar, it would have no value.
But there's still your silence you were talking about. So you can
Yeah,
silence
but
and
it's
then
2 rounds.
it's 2 rounds, but you're not gonna win with Ragnaros in 1 round also.
No, but if you play Ragnaros now, like, what's the worst case? Like, Siphon Soul is the worst case, but you clear one of the minions. In regard, like, worst case is Harvest Golem, best case is insta-win next round with Silence, Force of Nature.
Absolutely. And he goes for the card draw. Gets, well, 2 not so optimum minions for him. And now for me, it would finally be the turn just dropping Selnus. I mean, he has no spells in hand. He wants to win like in 2 turns, and he wants to draw the maximum amount of cards. So
Yes.
I would have gone so hard for Selnus.
I would have played Ragnaros Selnus.
Yeah, that would have been possible too. I just liked, like, you want to draw some more options, and that's why I think Lothar just did it.
I completely agree. You want to have options on your hand, but he already had the options that he needed. And the big problem is that he lost the complete board control with a minion that gets cleared by the board he already had. So StrifeCro just gets a bigger and bigger advantage. And now, with all those minions up, the chances of Ragnaros, like he's getting more and more behind. Like, how is he going to play from that position? It's incredibly difficult for him.
We can still drop the Ragnaros, as you said, since we haven't seen a Siphon Soul.
But now it's getting worse, because last turn there was no possibility to clear the Ragnaros.
Well, if he runs in his Mountain Giant, the Mountain Giant is gone. So
yeah, but last turn there was no Mountain
yeah,
Giant.
there was, but we're in this turn, so we need to deal with what we have now. And you get an Azure Drake, you can draw cards. You can draw even more cards with your, like, you get 9 cards left, and he has a Big Game Hunter in. So there could be the crazy, I draw my Big Game Hunter and just snipe your minion away. Or he just goes for the Ragnaros, as you want to see it since 1 turn. And worst case...
I don't... Now Ragnaros would be the wrong choice, in my opinion.
What would you else do? Just go for the card draw? Like, if you go Ragnaros and he hits the Mountain Giant, that's perfect too.
Silence. No. Silence. Play the Yeti. And play Selnus.
Okay, Raz. But I would... Could you please drop your Selnus finally, Lothar? I really want to see it drawing a card. Twilight Drake, a 4 StrifeCro.
The reason why you wanted to play the Silence now is that you need the Roar combo to kill, and he would have to attack the Giant with 2 of his minions. So if he attacks with 2 of his minions, you can either go for Ragnaros next turn, or the Silence is gone and you still have your Yeti, and then a normal Force of Nature and Hero ability would kill him.
Well, at the moment, you would win also with Silence, Force of Nature, in case he's leaving your 5/5 alive, which will not happen.
Nope.
We see there's a Hellfire, so we could just run in his 2/1 Hellfire if he wants to. He has a Twilight Drake in his hand. So some good cards. He can even watch out for no card draw with the Iron Beak Owl, if he would Iron Beak the Selnus. But I guess we might just see... Well, like, he can kill. Then I would even Iron Beak the 1/1. Just to... You don't want your enemy to draw more cards. And then you can heal yourself or your minion with the Earthen Ring Farseer. If he heals his minion, that's actually better in this situation, since it's gonna get killed by Raz. So he cleared the board completely. And he's up to 9 HP. This is looking really good for StrifeCro now. But there are 2 minions. Would you finally go for your... Like 3 minions. Would you finally go for Ragnaros, Raz, for example? Oh, okay, Big Game Hunter. I never said anything. Now we can Big Game Hunter and Raz. Or Big Game Hunter and...
You go Big Game Hunter, Raz, Druid of the Claw, clear the entire board.
Well, would you just taunt it up, like, or we haven't seen one Siphon Soul? Charge it in, get rid of the 5/3.
Who cares about Siphon Soul? Because if you play Siphon Soul, he's 4 mana left. Then you can just go for Force of Nature Raw, because you're gonna draw Raw next turn. If not, just pray to the god of the cards. And even if not, it's fine, because he has enough clear. He has a Faceless. He has Force of Nature to get rid of stuff. Like, he could even use Force of Nature next turn to clear something. Like, if he really wants, he could clear Giant. It's like, this game is won for Lothar.
It looks super good for Lothar. I don't know how StrifeCro wants to turn this around. 2 Shadow Flames are gone. 2 Hellfires are gone. We saw a lot of Giants. So even if he gets a Giant, he cannot taunt it up.
There's 1 more Giant in there.
Yeah, 1 more Giant.
No Twilight Drakes. Well, 1 on his hand, but that's a 4/2, which would just die to, or for 3, is it?
Yeah, he would need to draw a Molten Giant and his last Taunter. That's like...
Yeah.
That's what he really needs. But even that would maybe not rescue him. Since we still have the Silence, we got 2 minions on the board. That's looking like really good. And he kills the 3-3 just to prevent from taking any damage.
That was
Power
actually not too bad, yeah.
overwhelming.
It's
He can kill the 4-6 if he wants to. With Iron Beak Owl and power overwhelming on his Ancient Watcher. But as you say, like as we said, there's like no use at all. He has an Urgent Ring Forest here. He can heal himself up, but still, this is looking extremely saddening for StrifeCro in
well,
the
it's
end.
over.
Yeah, his 5-3 will die, and then Force of Nature. Let's put it under saddening. He's struggling. He wants to survive even longer. But there is the silence,
Bam.
Force of Nature, GG. Not even Force
Not
of
even
Nature.
Force of Nature,
Well,
you
he can
literally
he can still go silence, Force of Nature, innovate hero ability, GG.
That would be BM.
That would be BM, but he has two options to win the game. Just silence, attack the face, or drop what he has. He can even Force of Nature to kill the 5-6. So he had several options to win the game. It's not... He luckily had it in hand to pull it off here. So he just has everything he needs. Silence. GG. First game won by Lothar. And that game, in total, was as long as our first best of 3.
Yeah.
Between Artosis and Rewind.
Well,
He is second. That's really good for StrifeCro with an
Yeah.
SA7 agent. Bloodmage Selness. Maybe the Zurdrake don't have to keep it.
if we take a look at Lothar, then double Wild Growth, Harvest Golem, and he actually chose to keep it. Will you keep double Wild Growth if you're turn 1? I would keep 1, but not 2.
Did he keep it or did he redrew it? I'm not sure. I guess
No, opponent still, I think
he mulliganed the complete hand and he got...
he did.
Yeah. he
Okay,
got
then I
double.
missed it. Then it was just really unfortunate for him.
Well, it's okay if you just draw. You can go White Growth, and then you're already turn 4. So he can just draw into good stuff. If he gets Druid of the Claw now, Ancient of Lore, then the double White Growth is actually a really good thing. Force of Nature is more or less not so good. For
Pretty bad.
StrifeCro, double SI7 agent, that's just super nice.
And coin SI.
And coin. That's like the most important thing.
So what do you see?
And even preparation, well, but
Prep. Or
yeah, without...
just weapon up.
Yeah, we have map. Well, we could coin out SI7. Just for...
He wants what? Okay, he really wants card draw.
Well, it ain't wrong to put him out. Like, you get the card draw, you still have your Zudrakes for the spell damage. You don't need him for
That's
extra
true.
spell damage.
But he saw Yetis last turn, and you really want, like, what you like is Salnus Eviscerate to get rid of a Yeti.
And there's the Ancient of Lore we were talking about. So Lothar drew pretty nice into it. Next turn he can drop Harvest or Keeper, and then next turn already Ancient of Lore. It's pretty crazy for him.
That was a good draw.
We have for StrifeCro, we get a Sap, and we get double Auctioneer. So whatever is coming, he can coin out an Auctioneer if he wants to, and Preparation Sap, for example. So he can deal with quite everything that could be put out. Double Ancient of Lore. Nice. Maybe Keeper now, plus Hero ability to get rid of this 3-3. I guess that would be good.
I wouldn't.
And you don't want to take any damage. Though
Yeah, I agree you don't want to take any damage, but how are you gonna get rid of the...
Auctioneer,
Yeah.
Force of Nature. That's what you're planning at the moment. You don't have any other options. You don't have Swipe in your hand. You don't have Harass in your hand. So if there's an Auctioneer coming, and if that Auctioneer is not getting concealed, Force of Nature. That's what you're planning. Even though you're robbing yourself, you're killing potential.
Yeah.
So you're not getting Force of Nature Roar anymore.
You give StrifeCro a lot of turns to get his combo to kill you. That's my concern.
Absolutely, but you kind of need to get rid of those minions. I mean, there's an Azure Drake, so there's a 4-4 against you now. And you get a Shieldwind Yeti, plus Harvest Golem if you want to.
Yeti Golem, go.
And
Trade it.
StrifeCro already has the combo in hand. So that's good. There we see Leroy, the first start, plus Cold Blood.
That's 10.
The annoying thing is you cannot kill the Azure Drake if you don't go for Force of Nature.
The problem is if he plays his Ancient of Lore now, and we see, for example, Weapon up, Cold Blood, Eviscerate, it's gone. And then he trades with the 2-4, his complete board control. Even just like Auctioneer prep Eviscerate would kill it. So playing the Yeti, playing the Ancient of Lore is kind of meh now, So I would go for the Harvest Golem and Yeti.
Harvest Golem and Yeti feels good for me too.
I just say you don't want to lose your complete board control if you don't have a Druid of the Claw in your hand.
I agree with you. But you can draw into some good stuff. Obviously not. Lothar cannot. He's not getting a swipe or a ras, something like that.
Yep.
StrifeCro could go Auctioneer, Preparation, Sap. You do not want to Sap
Either of those.
either of those, but you Sap a 5/5. He gets it back into his hand for 7. So yeah, he can play it again, draw even more cards, but he won't play another card in that turn. So yes, he can drop for 7 another minion, or he just swipes something. But you would get a card draw, and you would do 4 damage. You can kill the 2/4 minion if you want to. And you get another Auctioneer, so you don't care about losing one. I feel like it's okay if you go prep. You can go prep and see what you draw. I mean, if you get an Eviscerate, you can just kill the 5/5 instantly. Perfect. There's the Shadow Stab. Plus another Azure. So really nice hand for StrifeCro. This looks like a hand you want to have as a Merker Rogue.
Yeah, definitely.
And he can win with it, absolutely. There's Karen, but Karen is
Useless.
absolutely useless. And now I would go Force of Nature, even though you don't want to. But there's a 4/2 and a 4/4 on the board.
And that's another problem you had with the play he did. Like, playing just one minion is so risky when you have more options. Well, he can clear with Force of Nature, so that's great for him. But as we know, there's already a second Auctioneer incoming, and there's no way for Lothar to clear him if he doesn't draw into swipe.
Not only a second Auctioneer, if he wants to just drop Van Cleave, so you go SI7 Van Cleave, just for the fun. You can just drop Azure Drake first. Doesn't even need to go, like, he doesn't need to go Auctioneer. It's a 4/4 that would draw a card. Not even draw a card, since it's not going to cold-blood it without a Conceal.
There are 2 options in my opinion. Azure Drake or SI7 Van Cleave. And I favor SI7 Van Cleave, because you get 2 minions on the board, and the Druid has almost no potential to clear it. And yeah, you get a 3/3 and a 4/4. And if you just play your Azure Drake, one swipe it's gone. One Druid of the Claw and you don't get through it. It's just so much stuff.
Even if we see a swipe now, there needs to be a Keeper of the Grove to kill both, for example, or a swipe Ras. As you said, that's a really good board now. I don't see Lothar clearing it, so he can draw Azure Drake and hope he gets a spell. Or he just goes Yeti, Harvest, Mark of the Wild. But if we see another Sap, like your Mark of the Wild is good, but with a Sap you're just getting devastated.
Yeti, I guess.
And he needs to draw a card first. He really needs to see what he gets.
And he needs the board.
Oh, he's not getting it. He's not getting any swipes. He's not getting any Rasses.
There comes the Yeti. That was correct.
Yeah, 4/5 and 4/4 out. With an Eviscerate, that 4/5 just vaporizes. Okay, Leroy double Shadow Step.
Not the mana yet, but he already has potential of 22 damage.
He can go Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, so 12, 16, 19 plus Cold Blood. So 23 damage would be possible, but he's on 29, so that's not enough. You
Play Azure Drake.
see what you're getting?
Yeah. You're not gonna play Auctioneer this round.
Yeah, Auctioneer is the same as playing Azure Drake.
The one thing you could do would be Auctioneer, Web Map Deadly Poison, but you obviously have 7 mana, so that would be a potential play for the next round to go for the finishing move.
Double Cold Blood.
So at turn 10, he has 26 damage.
Well, I would just drop it now. Just go
No,
Leroy,
why?
12 damage. You got Leroy, just go Van Cleave, 12 damage. You got Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, and you can play it next turn. You're on 20, you're on 8 mana, so you could go this 3 times Leroy rotation if you want to. I would at least drop 1 Cold Blood.
He has no sap.
Yeah, if we see a Taunter. Like
He goes for double, okay.
You're
fine as well.
You're imagining we're going to see a Mark of the Wild, but that's not a given. And down to 18 for Lothar, so triple Leroy?
Just the Druid of the Claw would have been enough.
Absolutely. A good job for StrifeCro that Lothar is not having it. The advantage in just doing this is you still have the option to go Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy. But if you don't play the double Cold-Blood, you will never get the option. And as you said, you get to play Auctioneer, Weapon Up, Deadly Poison, so that's a possible thing. And as we see for Lothar,
But then, if he decides to go for double Cold Blood, he should have played the Auctioneer to draw 2 cards instead of the Azure Drake.
in that retro perspective, I would absolutely agree with you. But he draws the second Cold-Blood with the Azure Drake, so he couldn't know that he's going to get a second Cold-Blood. If he only wanted to drop 1, he was maybe like, yeah, that 1 card I draw anyways with the Azure Drake.
True.
So, yeah, in the end, you should have played Auctioneer, but without knowing, I
It's
think...
always hard. It's true.
Would you go for card draw, hope for something to kill?
I would definitely not go for card draw in this situation. That would be just madness.
Why? You get an Innervate, so you get 2 cards and you can still...
No, you only have 5 mana left. Can't risk it.
Well, you should get, if you get a Raz, it's already enough. You can Raz the
Maybe
left one.
go Azure. Just go Azure for the card draw. Check what you get. Wow.
And you can heal yourself additionally. But I would have dropped the Harvest, like, I would drop the Harvest additionally. Now you get a 7/7 down.
Board is super weak again.
Yeah, absolutely, but
I
whatever you Mark of the Wild up, it ends in this. You have 1 Mark of the Wild minion, and that minion will get sapped or not. So like this, he actually has the strongest one.
Yeah, he has the strongest one.
Yeah, whatever he did, so he drew cards, or he healed himself, so that was okay. Whatever you do, heal or draw. Healing is safer mode. But if you play the Azure Drake, you have a 6/6. Like this, you have a 7/7. And by playing the Azure Drake, you could have followed up with a Kodo,
Yeah.
or still with a Harvest. Doesn't matter. I think now he has a 2/3 and a 7/7 instead of a 3/5 and a 6/6. And he actually healed him up by 5, so he's on 23. And that's the key about this play. Sap for 2 damage.
Wow.
Plus
Draws
Eviscerate.
into an Eviscerate.
Well, earlier or later, it needed to happen. And I
Weapon
guess weapon up, yeah. Now you need to. You need to do those 7 damage, bring him down. This is looking really good for StrifeCro. I mean, he has Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy. A lot of damage.
If he healed himself up, I would have buffed my Harvest Golem with the taunt.
What are you going? Heal up again, and then roar to kill the 4/4. It's actually the only thing you can do. You could go for a Azure Drake, but whatever you draw, you need to kill the 4/4.
Go Azure Drake.
Yeah, but if you go the Agent of Lore, you heal yourself by 5 again, and you use your roar, and you can kill the 4/4 and do damage to the face additionally.
Well, he probably knows that there's at least... He knows both Cold Bloods are gone, 1 Eviscerate. So he can expect Leroy Shadow Step, at least. Which is, well, 15, 19 damage right now. Has to heal himself up. Azure Drake has the potential of getting a Druid of the Claw or a Swipe. But that wouldn't... Well, that would help him a bit, but not that much. So yeah, definitely Druid of the Lore.
Ancient of Lore.
Ancient of Lore, not
heal
Druid
up.
of the Lore, yeah.
So that turned out good for him. He's on
Makes more
21.
sense.
So if you would expect what you said, only Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, that would be 12-15.
It's over.
He would survive. But as we know, there's Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy.
And wet.
And that's actually 18 plus 3. So exactly 21 damage we have here from StrifeCro against Lothar. Again, a rather long match from those 2 players here. And StrifeCro goes for the 1-1. So nice job here. We might see the first win for DogeHouse next game.
I think Lothar's deck is really, really strong. And yeah, he just...
Didn't
He
get
wa-
a swipe. The whole series.
He was unlucky with his swipes, let's put it
By
that way.
now,
Poker mirror.
that's going to be
That can
Interesting,
be super
like,
confusing to cast.
turn
That's
turn
first
6,
thing.
turn 7 on. Then it gets interesting. The early game is really good too. So it comes all down. Lothar has the advantage. He has a coin.
Yeah, that's a big advantage. And 1 more card.
And 1 more card, plus the SI7 agent on hand already.
Ooh.
For StrifeCro, we see again SI7 plus the Azure Drake. He kept that last turn too.
He keeps the Azure Drake. That is a bit surprising to me.
Well, rather have some card draw in your hand than not get card draw at all, I would say, in the end. But as you say, it's risky. You're not
Yeah.
getting anything else. But as you know,
You really against the rogue, against the miracle rogue, you want to have deadly poison and backstab.
Well, he's not going to kill you, and you just need something to kill his SI7 agent. That's like the only thing you need early on. He might or might not get it. Lothar, well, he has a really good hand. He could coin SI7. He could just weapon up. So for Lothar, it's looking rather good.
I think keep the coin for the SI7. There's no threat right now. He could go coin to combo SI7 or just wait until the opponent plays something, weapon up or shift. I would just weapon up.
I prefer always weapon up. It's you get 1 damage, and next turn you can shift plus attack with the weapon. So in total you see deal 3 damage.
He could backstab shift something. He could backstab
SI7.
shift coin SI7 like on turn 4 to get. Yeah, it's just like his hand looks so good.
Yeah, he has good card draw potential. And for StrifeCro, well, we see 1 shift already, and we see an Azurdrake. He has some card draw potential too. Both players will get their cards, and even a Gnomish Inventor for Lothar, so that's really good. So he can coin out the Gnomish, and he has a 2/4 minion on the board if he wants to. And well, Gnomish 2/4, you need an Eviscerate to kill it. You cannot weapon it down, easy mode.
Nope, there's the second shift. He needs to shift now to draw cards.
He needs to start the card draw. I agree
Well,
with
the problem
you
is
there.
he has no options, and Lothar can just counter everything. And that as soon as he draws the Auctioneer, just pump out spells.
Then we see a no value SI7. We might see. Well, he can backstab SI7. He can backstab weapon up. He can backstab Fan of Knives.
Backstab SI7, I guess.
Well, I think everything is cool. Maybe backstab Fan of Knives is even one of my favorites, just because you're getting rid of your Fan of Knives. It costs 3. Shift, you can always shift. For example, as you say, you can.
Well, you have a minion on the board, which is extremely valuable. So I would go for the minion because it puts pressure onto StrifeCro. We know that in a Miracle Rogue Mirror, like every damage counts. So that's why you want to have the board pressure instead of the Fan of Knives. I agree, you get more options with Fan of Knives, but he already has a turn 4 play and a turn 5 play. So I think board control is more important than getting the options in this case.
The only thing that bugs me about this play is you're wasting 1 damage. So yes, you do the damage,
Shift.
but you're like wasting 1. So you're doing 2 on him, and he was already on 1 HP. And that what only annoys me. Well, StrifeCro can kill the enemy minion, double shift, has an Auctioneer. Wow.
He just dealt 3 more damage and forced 2 shifts, and
Yep.
the opponent still has no board control. So yeah, you wasted 1 damage, but your opponent also took 3 in return.
Absolutely. I know where we are. I just hate wasting damage. It's like wasting mana. It always feels sad.
Yeah.
For StrifeCro, well, we got the Auctioneer. We got a preparation.
So horrible.
We got a backstab. That could be worse.
The problem is I think in this case, Azurdrake, backstab, take the 2 damage and get the board control.
We can Azurdrake, backstab. We'll take the damage, get the board control, especially if your enemy. Well, if your enemy is not having an Eviscerate, everything worked out well.
Even if he has an Eviscerate, your Azurdrake tanked it, and he couldn't play an Auctioneer.
Well, we might. He could play a backstab shift Fan of Knives. No, if he wants to kill the Azurdrake badly, he could just drop his 3 of his cards, 3 of his spells. You really don't want to.
No, without an Auctioneer, no.
And we might see weapon up, backstab kill. That's also a thing.
That
Or
makes-
just
that
weapon
makes
up
the
shift.
most sense.
Well, I guess weapon up shift feels better. So I was like backstab because I saw that Azurdrake has 5 HP.
Yeah, it's true.
Wasting your backstab is okay, but you have 2 Azurdrakes, so you can do 5 damage shifts. 5
What?
damage shifts. You can do 3 damage backstabs. That's what I want to say.
Those are way more valuable.
Well,
Oh, he wants to get rid of the Phantom.
so he drew every card, as we said. Backstab, shift, Fan of Knives. Just draw 2 cards, get rid of everything. He doesn't have an Auctioneer, so it's okay.
Yeah, definitely, he needs it.
Well, we see an Auctioneer for StrifeCro. Are we going to see Auctioneer, preparation, whatever?
I think
Hope for
just
conceal.
Earthen Ring, get the board, equip a weapon, and just end your turn. Because next turn he can actually play the Auctioneer, play Deadly Poison, Cold Blood, your Earthen Ring Farseer, deal a lot of damage and get pressure onto the board.
Absolutely. So keep your Deadly Poison. Shouldn't use that. You can use it now since you want to use maximum amount of your mana, but as you stated, you really want to do it with an Auctioneer. For Lothar, well, there's a 3/3 now, and that's why the other play might have been better. You could have done a 3 damage backstab, but like this, you're only taking 3 damage. So Richard
And
Purse,
he heals himself up immediately.
whatever he did, everything is okay for both players. It looks still really balanced. We see a Leroy on both hands. So Lothar as a Leroy, StrifeCro as a Leroy.
It looks better for StrifeCro. Now he can play Auctioneer, Deadly Poison.
Preparation,
Clear.
Fight of Knives, stuff. Like he has so many cards in hand to actually draw a Conceal.
Yep.
And he really wants to get a Conceal. So if he goes Preparation, Fight of Knives, that's 1, 2, 3 more cards to draw. And there could be that one Conceal he absolutely wants.
Nope, that wasn't it.
Now isn't Conceal. Prep first, see what you get. Still no
was,
Conceal. But you kind of need to play your Fan of Knives. So that's just 2 cards. And it costs 3 if you don't play it Preparation.
Yeah, Fan of Knife makes a lot of sense right now. Blade Flurry, that's nice to have.
And so you got 2 Shadow Stabs and a Cold Blood
And
for your Leroy.
That's only 22 damage.
It's a good hand for him.
Wait.
He's thinking about just hit the face instead of the minion. The problem is you want to keep your Auctioneer alive, and you need to
Why?
consider he could
Why?
have the same stuff in his hand.
Well, he's not on 8 mana next turn.
Well, there's still the possibility of Leroy, Shadow Stab, Leroy, Cold Blood, Preparation, Cold Blood.
Yep.
As like always,
That
we're
would be-
always exaggerating.
That would be 30 damage.
Absolutely. So we see Auctioneer getting Shadow Stab. He can go next turn for it really crazy mode. He wants to go next turn for
Attack.
Blade Flurry. Yeah. Especially if there's a second incoming or in a Zudrake. Well, a Zudrake you cannot kill without spell damage. That hurts.
Think
That hurts for Lothar.
that hurt for Lothar, that hurt for StrifeCro.
And he's not getting an Auctioneer. That hurts.
Ah, yeah. But I think StrifeCro just
It could get down to 21, but Lothar
played it
doesn't want.
interestingly.
Lothar doesn't want to attack since he has 4 damage Blade Flurry. Oh, there's a second Deadly Poison, so now everything is good. You can just deal 10 damage in a turn, you kill your enemy's board, you draw 1 bazillion cards.
Wow.
This is a really, really nice draw for StrifeCro. Even a backstab, so he didn't even need the second poison. And Eviscerate, wow. This is like
This is over. StrifeCro
10, this is 14 damage StrifeCro can deal now. Clears the board, and he draws 2 more cards, and there's Leroy, double Cold Blood, Shadow Stab, and this is just crazy.
It's just stupid.
Brings him down to 16, and next turn he can actually deal 20 damage with his stuff in hand.
Easy.
And Lothar, well, Lothar can deal 9 damage at the moment.
Nice.
We can, at least he has an Azure Drake plus Blade Flurry, so he's getting rid of the Auctioneer. That's value.
Yeah, well,
It's not going to
it
win
is, but then again, it's over.
you. You should Preparation, Blade Flurry actually, so you can heal up yourself, like go extremely safe. I mean, you're down on 16, that's
Yep.
turn 9.
Yes, sir.
That's what you need to do to play this the safest way. It won't be enough, sadly, for Lothar.
Nope.
If he had a Shadow Stab coin plus the...
Earthen Ring, you could survive.
Yeah, he could go on 22, so that would be a slight survival potential, but yeah, not in his hand. Still Conceal, so he might go for Coin Conceal. Even though it's like not using anything for Lothar, but it's correct played. He did everything correct in his game.
Yep.
There were like no misplays from both players. Well, that's true. You were arguing about StrifeCro's play there was not attacking.
With the Shadow Step. But
Yep.
like in the end, it worked out, so he did everything right.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So there's Leroy, Shadow Step Leroy, double Cold Blood, 20 damage, and he can even, well, can he get his
He
weapon?
can weapon out, yeah.
I know he's 1 mana short of doing that with double Cold Blood. But it's enough. That's 14 damage,
Yes,
Shadow Step
exactly, yeah.
Leroy. So that's how you deal 20 damage with, well, 4 cards and 1 card twice, actually. Well, 2 cards twice, but you just go for double Leroy, Shadow Stab. We heard